Boiling. Hot day.
What? Sorry?
It's a hot day. I'm boiling.
Yeah. Okay. Excuses.
I've had a lot of chili as well.
Okay, let's start the show, guys. Let's get the show on the road. It's a really exciting topic of dreams. Now, why did I choose dreams of all things? Why was dreams what I chose? So it's like this. Well, I'll ask you guys. Why do you think I chose dreams right now?
People are having.
Pardon? Yeah, speak now. I'll hold your peace. Yeah. Hello, anyone? No, anyone out there? No.
CEO in the house.
Yeah, hello. Okay, so the reason is like this. I don't know about you guys, but I've started to have very vivid dreams right now during this whole lockdown process. So I have very vivid dreams. My best friend lives in Israel, and I'm not going to say his name, but some of you might know him. You may have met him in the past. And he is having a bit of a tough time with his kids at home, and he was expressing serious frustration to me about what's happening with his family and his kids and everything happening. And I literally had this vivid dream that I was with him in his house in Israel, and we had a Roman catapult, and he was launching massive rocks from his Roman catapult onto all the cars in his neighborhood, smashing up all the cars.
I thought you were going to say he's launching his children for a second.
That would be funny. Okay, and when I told him this, like, he cried and laughed. It's so funny. Like, he's like, his intense frustration was coming out. Like, I also had this crazy dream that I was speaking somewhere as a rabbi, but I was locked in a room and I couldn't get out, and I was trying to get out of the room and I couldn't get out of the room, and I was like, kind of, people were waiting for me, but I couldn't go there. Question, okay, there's 32 people here in this room. Anyone else here has experienced, come on, just, you don't have to go into full details. I know some of you, maybe a little bit more than others, want to, what do you call it? I don't know, some of you more than others feel comfortable. So Steve, watch what you say. Anyone else here been experiencing some weird, interesting dreams that they feel more vivid, more exciting, more interesting than the past couple of days? Anybody?
Yeah, absolutely. I have.
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, I don't remember them, but I don't remember what, like, I honestly, like, I wake up in the morning and I remember they were really epic. I remember it was like a cinematic movie, and I just can't remember after about 10 minutes what it was about, but I either have a feeling of it was really good or really bad.
Okay, but you saying that's more vivid than usual? That's what I'm trying to work out.
More vivid and more emotional, because the emotion of it stays with you when you wake up. It's really weird.
Anybody else had? Thank you, Sienna. Thanks for sharing. So anyone else had like more kind of vivid dreams now due to the lockdown?
I have, and
Yeah.
I actually never used to dream, and now I'm dreaming a lot and very vividly, which is very weird.
Okay, and did you ask yourself the question, like, why is that happening? Like, what's the purpose? Like, why? Have you, like, until we kind of put the thing out for this class happening tonight, did you ask yourself, like, oh, like, what's going on here? Like, you know, why am I dreaming?
Didn't think much about it, but then I heard that many people have been experiencing this.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting.
Okay, well, we've got our actual resident psychologist here on the call, Vanessa Berdugo. Bonsoir, live from London and Paris, who's a resident psychologist. Vanessa, have you, in the psychologist community, have you been discussing this? Is this something that's come up about more people dreaming right now, vivid dreaming? Is that something that's come up at all?
Yes, most of my patients, they used to, during this time, during the sessions, they used to speak about their dreams. And most of the time, it's they don't know if there is a sense, if the dream has any sense in their life.
Right.
But me too. I can see every time, every morning, I can remember a dream about a subject that I spoke about the day before, or
yeah,
my work.
Okay, that's interesting. Mentioning about things you mentioned the day before, we'll come back to in a second. But I think what is clear within the whole sort of world right now, people are talking about this, this idea of more vivid dreams. This is just to share with you. I was just doing some research online. Again, there's no one kind of website or anything that's better than any of the others. But I know The Guardian had a whole article about people dreaming like they're James Bond or this, that, and the other. But let me share with you here. This is just from one of the websites I went to. The website's called stylist.co.uk. I'm a very stylish person, as you all know. Okay, so this is what it says here. I'll get someone to read. Maybe maybe I'll read myself, actually, just this one I'll read myself. So it says, A, source A, if like us, you're fascinated by the mysterious and mind-boggling world of dreaming, you'll probably know all about the latest point of interest to take over social media, why we're all having such vivid dreams in lockdown. It's been the start of many conversations among the stylist team. Despite the fact that most of us are doing very little right now, our unconscious mind is having a field day and providing us with some seriously outrageous dreams. Whereas previously we might have forgotten about the dreams we had the night before, now recalling our subconscious adventures is part of our daily routine. It's clear that we're not the only ones experiencing this. Take a look through social media and you'll see post upon post of commenting on the remarkable and sometimes absolutely mad dreams people are having right now. So why is it that lockdown is having this effect on all of us? This is the question people are trying to find out. Why is it specifically that lockdown is having such an effect and causing us to have so many mind-boggling dreams? By the way, you should know, the psychologists amongst us and not, that there is a website apparently you can go to. There's a team of postgrad students that are trying to chart and log all the dreams that people are having right now during the coronavirus. I think, if I'm not, I'll send you the post later. It's lockdowndreams.co.uk or something like that. You log onto it and it takes you to like a place where you basically log your dream, and they're just gonna, at the end, while it's all over, they're gonna be able to kind of see like just one effect. Everyone in lockdown, the effect it's had on people's dreams, which of course feeds into people's subconscious and the unconscious mind, etc., etc. So my question for you guys is, well, it's really two things. First of all, why do we think that being in lockdown is causing such vivid dreams? So we have one psychologist, but anyone want to kind of harbor a guess as to why they think
mental health?
Now, someone said mental health. Oh, yeah, what does that mean?
I saw
People are going mad.
People are going mad. Okay, so what does that mean though? If it's going to be so what? So why are people having more dreams?
All the lack of social interaction and going out, living normal lives, being trapped at home, people are suffering from their mental health. As they've been trying to broadcast for the last year and a bit, the mental health is going a bit mad, shall we say? Try to be a little bit polite.
That's why I'm just the mental health is going mad. So that's a whole double.
Yeah, it's been going on for quite a while. You know, people always start talking about suffering from anxiety and this and mental health being such a big issue in the world. And now, obviously, everyone's trapped inside. They have just all this social distancing. No, they can't contact, can't see their parents, family, friends. So people are going probably a little bit more.
Larry.
How do I put it? Mentally disturbed, shall we say? So it's affecting their dreams, and obviously their dreams become a little bit more vivid and a bit more focused, I guess, because all their, like I said, their anxieties, their depressions, whatever, are coming into their dreams more.
Right, okay, thank you, Alex. We had Emily, and I think Joe was looking like she wanted to say something. Joe Schwartz, like she was insinuating that she was saying something. Go, Emily, and then Joe. Go, Emily, yeah.
I saw something online about how this is during the time of coronavirus, your brain actually behaves differently because your body is having a fight or flight reaction to impending risk. So maybe the fact that we've got like more stress, although it's very distant because we're at home, there's still some kind of anxiety and stress about death going on in the background of our brains. Maybe that's affecting it.
Interesting. The stress and anxiety. Very true. And then finally, Joe, you wanted to say, Joe, yeah, because I thought you were like insinuating maybe the whole South American thing. It could be, I don't know. South Americans tend to go like that a lot.
In a big Zoom chat. But basically, I think every period of war or a pandemic or something really traumatic causes strain to our bodies, to our minds, to our souls. And maybe dreams are one of the many ways that our bodies are dealing with the strain or the shock of changing our lives 180 degrees. Mm-hmm. And yeah, maybe it's just a manifestation.
Okay, very, very good. Thank you to everyone that's answered so far. Unfortunately, thank God we've got quite a lot of people on this call. I can't see everyone in one go in all the videos. So if someone is trying to say something, then you have to do the whole raise your hand thing, because then I will know you're there. If you haven't got the raising hands that I can't actually see. But I do want to try and keep this as interactive as possible. That's the beauty of this class, is that it's interactive. Even though we're on Zoom, we're interacting. But here we go. Let's go into this more deep. The Jewish view on dreams is it's quite fascinating because it's really, it's an area which on the one hand, we see sources that say that dreams are like nonsense, dreams don't do anything, dreams don't have any grounding. On the other hand, we see that dreams are actually very important and the dreams can actually contain truth, and even they are 1/60th of prophecy. If you take a look here again, let's go back to our sharing the screen. I will share obviously with you all the source sheet afterwards, but take a look here. It says here there are 5, source B, there are 5 matters in our world which are 1/60th of their most extreme manifestations. So they are fire, honey, sleep, and a dream. So these are all a 60th. Okay, I'm sure some of you have heard me talk about this before, but we talk about 60th because a 60th is that point where we can have a taste of an experience without it overwhelming us, or without it being considered to be even an element of the full experience. So a 60th, as I'm sure you may know in the kashrut laws, if you have some milk that falls into a pot of chicken soup, okay, that's a bit of a no-no, the milk and meat situation. But as long as there's a 60th or under of milk, then we say it's bottled. It means it's not really there, it goes in. But from a 60th onwards, you can taste it. So all these elements of fire, our fire in this world is a 60th of Gehenna. Honey is a 60th of the manna that fell in the desert. Shabbat is a 60th of the taste of the world to come. And here it's very interesting. Sleep is 1/60th of the death experience. So to a certain extent, when we go to sleep at night and we put our heads down, we close our eyes and we go to sleep, that experience of sleeping is 1/60th of the experience of death. Now we can understand that if you think about it, it makes sense because, right, I guess in many ways, right, what actually happens when we sleep? Well, I guess you close your eyes and your body goes into a certain shutdown, and your breathing changes, every part of you changes. And we're going to see in a minute in your soul also, in the levels of your soul, they also are affected. We're going to see in just a few minutes time, hold tight ones in your soul. But just sleep itself is an element of death. Guys, spot question, who can answer this? What do we do specifically in the morning? What act do we do in the morning as a reflection of the fact that we call sleep a type of death experience? That's something we do in the morning.
Wash your hands.
Modani, beautiful. Whoever said Modani, that's 100%. First thing is, there's a line we say, Modani lefanecha melech chai v'kayam, shechazalta bi nishmasi bechem la'rabbi munasecha, which means, thanking you, Hashem, I'm thanking you for giving me back my soul. What do you mean, giving back my soul? What do you mean? In fact, by the way, all of us who went to some sort of synagogue when we were little, or even when we're not little, when we're older as well, and they do that great rousing rendition of Adon Olam at the end, which where I come from in Elstree United Synagogue, Adon Olam only meant one thing, and that was, we're just one step closer to that Kiddush that's about to start happening, right? So Adon Olam, Hashem Malach, right? That was like Kiddush is coming really, really soon, time to eat some crisps. But the last lines of Adon Olam are so powerful. We don't know it because people are just ready to race out of shul. But the last words of Adon Olam are Biyadoi afkid ruchi be'esi shan v'ayira. Biyado afkid ruchi means into his hands I place my soul. Every night when I go to sleep, I place my soul into Hashem's hands. So as you go to sleep and you close your eyes, you're placing your soul into Hashem's hands. Now, if we don't touch on this tonight, I believe we don't finish it this evening, we'll do it next week. And that is why, my friends, there's a certain prayer we say before we go to bed at night. Really, Rabbi? Another prayer? Haven't you got enough with all those 3 every day? There's Shacharis, Mincha, Mariv. What do you do with all these prayers at night as well? So the answer is, yeah, there's a prayer we say. It's the Shema Lamitav. This is Shema we say before we go to sleep. There's a certain Shema, right? I'm sure many people here in the call are familiar with the Shema. Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. But there's also a few prayers that we can say before that. One specifically is a prayer where we forgive anybody that did us damage during the day. We forgive anybody that may have caused us harm or may have dissed us or whatever during the day. We forgive them. That's one. And then we say a special bracha called Hamapil, which is not, we'll touch upon it next week, in which we basically talk about the fact that as I'm going to sleep, it's actually, I'm handing over my soul to God, and it's actually kind of dangerous if you think about it. You're kind of going a little bit to an eternal sleep when you go to sleep at night, and you're asking Hashem to help guide you and that you should come back peacefully from the whole sleep experience, which is a kind of a whole different approach to how most of us normally fall asleep, which is just like just put your head on the pillow and just doze off if we're lucky enough. And of course, we have to be very, very grateful for sleep. Sleep is such a blessing for people that can sleep. There are people out there, there may be one or two people who've been on this call as well, that may have even a hard time with sleep and a difficult time with even going to sleep. And so we have to be aware that even just the fact that we can go to sleep is a huge, huge blessing. Okay, but sleep is a sick to the death experience. And then the other thing Hannah and a few others mentioned as well is you wash our hands in the morning. Those who want to know more about this, obviously we can talk about it, but you wash your hands, you take water and you pour it over your hands, because since the soul exited from your fingers, so to speak, and re-entered through your fingers, there's an element of that near-death experience, so to speak, and therefore you wash your hands in the morning, you start the day anew, you start everything new, and that's because sleep is a 60th of death. But let's go to the other thing. We said that a dream is a 60th of prophecy. So that's a really, if you think about it, quite a fascinating statement to make. That the dreams are a 60th of prophecy. And I guess what a lot of people are asking out now are saying, well, what does that mean, Rabbi? Does that mean even now, if I have a dream, that I was, became like Prime Minister of Albania, does that mean that I'm, on my direction to moving to the Balkans, or, what if I have all these dreams, does it mean they're going to come true? So let's hold tight. We'll deal with it as we go along. So on the one hand, dreams are 160 prophecy, but we also see just variant statements. There's a statement in Zechariah, in the prophet Zechariah, we see it says "V'chalamois hashav yidaberu," and the dreams speak falsely, i.e., you don't have to pay attention to the dreams. They speak falsely; they're not true. You don't have to pay much attention to dreams. But on the other hand, Hashem tells us in the Torah in Bamidbar, right? I will speak to the prophets in a dream. So it's strange. See, dream is like a sort of an experience, which is, as we said before, something prophetic. So it's a really interesting and complicated subject, which we're going to go through step by step. Some people dream more vividly than others. Some people, I would say, are more disturbed by their dreams than others. Some people have more disturbing dreams than others as well. So let's go step by step, try and understand, and also just knowing as we go along that this is a very, it's a very intricate subject where even in the words of the Rishonim, even the words of our rabbis, there are divergent opinions. Some say dreams, just don't look at them, don't worry about them. And others say, no, they're very important. You have to be careful with what, you have to be conscious of what you're dreaming. So let's move on. Let's look etymologically at the word chalom. You look down here, okay? The word chalom is a dream. Okay, a dream. Now that's the root, a chet, a lamed, and a mem is the root of the word to dream. By the way, it's fascinating when you think about it. Let's do a little spot test here. Dreams are, well, I guess, think about it. Dreams are very important in all types of novels, in all types of literature, the idea of dreaming a dream or kind of, having images and dreams. But it's fascinating when you think about it, that in the Torah, almost the whole book of Bereshit, the book of Genesis, is packed full of dreams. So spot tests. Someone hasn't spoken yet. What are the dreams we see in the Torah? Let's go. Who are the dreams we see in the Torah? Someone who hasn't yet kind of piped up. Let's hear Naomi Burns. Naomi Burns, give me a dream in the Torah. Come on.
Joseph.
Very good. Yosef, Joseph's dreams. Fantastic, right? He has a number of dreams, by the way. He has the dreams that the stars and the moon are bowing down to him. He has the dreams about the sheaves of wheat that are bowing down to him. Anyone else got a dream for me? Looks like Alex Stevie's in a dream state right now. Anyone else got
a dream of Yitzhak with the ladder or something?
Adrian, that's Adrian for you, because he's so obsessed with his Hebrew name Yitzhak. He loves it, right? He loves his name Yitzhak. So you're nearly there. It's actually his son Jacob, right? So Jacob goes to sleep. And he has in the dream, he has this image of the ladder going up to heaven with the angels going up and down the ladder. Beautiful. That's Jacob's dream. Anyone else got some dreams for me? Come on. You can do it. Delphine, tu connais les rêves dans le Torah. Il y a les autres rêves qui en non, il y a quelqu'un? Somebody help me. Somebody stop me. Serena, did you ever see Joseph and the Raising Technicolor Dreamcoats, the play on stage? No? Did you see that one, Serena? I know you did.
Yes,
right.
I did.
So who has a dream in that play? And he's a king of Egypt in that.
Pharaoh.
Yeah, he does. Very good. He has two dreams. What are them dreams? What are they?
I don't know.
Yeah, I've watched it for years, have you? Okay, he has a,
There was
he
a
has a
dream
dream.
about there was a dream about the fact there was going to be a famine and they had to store grain.
Yeah, exactly. So there's the cows, all the fat cows, thin cows. Okay, we see that in the Torah as well. By the way, there's also dreams in the most fascinating. Most people don't know this, but Jacob has other dreams. He has dreams about the sheep. He knows, and it comes to him in a vision, in a dream, how to sort of manipulate the breeding patterns of sheep in order to make sure that Lavan, who's trying to trick him, his uncle Lavan, he works out the way to be able to actually manipulate the breeding patterns, and it comes to him in a dream night. So the Torah is basically ram jam filled with dreams. Dreams are so important in the Torah itself. But let's go back again to what we saw here. So there's two words of chalom that are quite similar. The first one is the word hachlama, and the other word is the word chaloin. So hachlama is, I guess, linked in the shorish, in the root of the verb. Chet lamed mem, chet lamed mem. Hachlama. The other word sounds very similar. Chaloim sounds like chaloim. There's a chaloim, there's a chaloim. They sound the same. Difference is that there's a mem at the end or there's a nun at the end. I think these two words, when we translate them, are going to give us a bit of a window, hint, hint, to what is happening with dreams. What's the purpose of dreams? And you'll be fascinated to see as we go along. Yes, someone's helped me out with that. We're going to be fascinated as we go along to see actually what modern psychoanalysis has actually got to say about this, how it actually reflects in many ways what the rabbis have been saying all these years along. Anybody here know what the word hachlama means? I'm not presupposing anybody does know what the word hachlama. But does anyone know, just by chance?
Is it connected to wisdom, like chokmah?
No, that's different. That's chet and a mem. Hachlama.
Healing.
Healing, beautiful. Sienna, were you about to say that as well? You had your hand up too? You were going to say healing, right?
Yeah, I was going to say to make a recovery, to be better.
Yes, exactly. Healing or recovery. In fact, there's something called a Beit Hachlama. If when in Israel, when the ladies have given birth, they often will go to a Beit Hachlama, which is a place where they can like rehabilitate, where they can heal, where they can kind of come back to themselves. So already we see within the word chalom for dream, how Hachlama is a recovery, a rehabilitation, a healing process. So we already see that dreams somehow are there to heal us, to get us to a better state. The word chaloin, anyone know what the chaloin means? I'm saying with a very Ashkenazic accent, chaloin. But if you're in Hebrew, you'd say, Tishma, tachat halon, ani tzarich lelechet
Window.
Yeah, thank you, Alex. Thank you, the window. You need to open the window there, mate, with the amount of smoke coming out. Right, so the chalon is a window. So on the one hand, we've got recovery and we've got the idea of health. Now we've got the idea of a window, of a pane of glass somehow that we would open. Windows not only are there to open to vistas for us to look out, but also sometimes windows can actually also be mirrors. We say, by the way, interesting enough, that when Joseph was with Potiphar's wife, okay, those who aren't familiar, watch Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat, I suppose. But when Joseph was with his Potiphar's wife, and Potiphar's wife was trying to seduce him, was trying her hardest to seduce Joseph, to basically sleep with her. And she was trying, and Yosef wouldn't do it. She was a married woman. So finally, she got him, and she really persuaded him, and he was literally about to do the act with her, and he caught sight of himself in the window. It says in the Chaloim, and because he had the same look and the same appearance as his father Jacob, his father Yaakov, when he looked in the mirror, or he looked in the window, he saw his own face, but he actually thought he was looking at his father's face. And when he saw his father's face, it reminded him, like, who are you? Where you come from? How can you do such a thing? And that caused him to get up and run out of the room as fast as he could. So a chaloin can mean a window, also means a mirror. How do these
Don't they say that a dream is a window to the soul?
But I think they say eyes are the windows to the soul, but I've never heard them saying the dreams are. But let's see. Don't give the game away yet, Alex. Come on, step by step, man. Okay, so let's go. Let's go through each one. So we say that hachlama means rehabilitation and chaloin means a window. Let's see how both of these kind of fit into the Jewish perspective. Now, before we get there, we have to just stop and pause for breath for a second. So we have to have everyone's attention to understand. We're going to go a little bit spiritual here. We're going to go a little bit on the spiritual side of things. Okay, guys. So we have to understand what happens to our neshama, what happens to our soul, specifically at night. So we have to take a breath and start explaining And for those of us who've been coming to Soul Fitness more regularly, especially now we've got this great Sunday morning Soul Fitness sessions where we're going to more depth about elements of the soul, talking about the alamas, the worlds. So you'll be more familiar with this. But if not, just hold on. We'll see what's going on here. We say that the soul actually, we go, what happened written here for you? What actually happens to our soul when we sleep? So we have to understand that the soul is above time and space. Okay, the soul, the holy soul, the neshama that you have, right? Since we call it chelek elokam imal, since it's hewn, so to speak, from the Creator, and it's connected completely at all times to the Creator. The soul itself is something which is above time and space, but it goes and it's placed and put into our physical body, which those of us who are Soul Fitness regular ease will know is considered to be the greatest wonder in the world, how a completely non-physical soul can live and react and interact with a physical body. It's something which no scientists can really explain to us. They can kind of guess towards, but there's no understanding how a non-physical element called a soul and a physical thing called a body can actually interact. But that soul itself comes into the body and it gives us our life. It gives us our life force. It's our life force. Now, there are three, even though we've learned on Sunday mornings that there are really 5 elements of the soul, we said already on Sunday that the highest 2, Chai and Yechida, are such that we can't really relate to them in this world, in our present state. So that's why I've talked about the 3. There are 3 elements to our soul that we have, that we can really relate to. The highest level is called neshama. That's in blue here, the neshama. That is the intellectual element of the soul. It's the highest element, so to speak, that we can relate to. It's the part of us actually that we would say is housed, so to speak, in our intellect. It's the highest part of our soul. One level down from that is called the ruach. That's the part of our soul which we would probably call the emotional element of the soul. That's why ruach means wind, it means movement, it means going. And that's the part of our soul, it says, housed in our heart, and it's the emotional element of our soul. These 2, neshama and ruach, are the 2 highest levels, whereas nefesh is the lowest part of the soul. It's the place where the soul and the body will interface with each other. Those who want to kind of know a little bit more about this, I'm making recordings of the Sunday morning classes that I'm giving. I don't want to do that so people don't come to the class, but those recordings are being uploaded onto YouTube. So if you want to watch, if you missed on Sunday, I talk there about the glass blower analogy, in which we talk about how the soul comes into the body. That will give you a better idea of what nefesh is. But the nefesh is the lowest part of the soul, where the soul and the body interface, right? That's probably the place that we know the most. That's the part of the soul that we recognize the most. The nefesh is the lowest part of the soul. Now, according to the Ramchal, Rav Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, Italian rabbi, lived in the 1700s, and many of the other Kabbalists, they explain that when you go to bed and sleep at night, your 2 higher levels of the soul, your neshama and your ruach, they, at that point, when you're asleep, they naturally go back up to the world of soul, okay, where they are nourished, where they get their, so to speak, we said this last week, but I'll say it again, it's the idea of a docking station. It's a docking station for the soul. The neshama and the ruach need to be lifted up, and they go and they are nourished and they recharge. It's like literally sticking, you know, at night when you put your phone into the, if those who do it, I don't know if everyone does it, but those who recharge their phones or whatever, you plug in, when you sleep at night, your high levels of your soul, your neshama and your ruach get plugged in, and they're in the docking station and they're replenishing, and they get, in fact, many of the sources say that your body doesn't get tired. Your body doesn't get tired at all. It's just your soul that gets tired. And it's your soul that needs to replenish. It's your soul that needs to get its energy source, its energy levels, get those bars back up. Now, I want to ask you, all very clever people, et je veux dire maintenant un grand bonjour à Noémie. Noémie, bonjour, c'est la première fois que tu nous joins dans cette cours de Soul Fitness. Bonjour, Noémie. Il y a une question maintenant. I've got a question for you all. How do you know? How can we prove?
Bonjour.
Bonjour, bonjour. I feel like, again, it's the Eurovision, you know? Come in, Royaume-Uni. Okay, but how do you know that's true, guys? Come on, give me an example how you know it's true. I was thinking about it before, and I think it makes perfect sense. The body doesn't get tired, just the soul. How do you know that? Give me an example in your life of where you've seen that before? Somebody. Don't be scared. Where have you seen an example of what I'm talking about? That actually your body doesn't tire, it's just your soul that tires and your soul that needs to rest. Come on. Anybody here worked on a project? It could have been like at school, it could have been at uni, it could have been a charity project, something you're doing with your friends, where like you're working, you're loving the work so much, you're enjoying it, then you suddenly look at your watch, you're like, oh my gosh, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and you're so buzzing that you don't feel at all tired. You're like, I can't believe it. Has that ever happened to anyone before? And we're not talking about taking Red Bull and whatever else people ingest nowadays. Anyone had that experience where you've been so excited by something that you lose track of time entirely? And whereas normally you might be tired at say 12 o'clock, you are buzzing till 3, 4. You've been on a date with someone. The date is just so incredible. The date is just so invigorating that you're like, oh my gosh, it's 3 in the morning. We've been talking all this time. Normally I'm tired by 12 o'clock. I'm so tired, but it's 3 a.m. I'm actually wide awake. Anyone had that before? So can you explain that to me? So when other days you can actually feel 8 p.m. so absolutely tired, right? Okay, you can feel absolutely gone at like 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock. And suddenly now at 3 a.m., you're feeling absolutely invigorated, you're feeling wide awake. So can anyone explain that to me?
Isn't that a state of being overtired?
Well, I mean, I guess some might say that, but at the end of the day, how does that physiologically work? Maybe overtired is when the soul kind of kicks in, but still, how can you remember your body's made up of molecules, it's made up of oxygen and going into all the different elements of your body, your cells must surely get tired.
Is it
How does that work? Inspiration, other things, right? You sometimes feel like you can go days on end without sleeping. Just to let you know, obviously, just one thing just came out. I'm reading all the chats as well right now. So I did a new function on Zoom right now, which means I can read all the chats that are having. So some good ones there, Steve. I'm laughing at what you're saying. It's brilliant. Some great stuff I'm reading. Amazing.
Is there a sense, because I usually get in the evenings, I'm quite a night owl, so like during the day I feel like I should be asleep, but during the night is whenever all the world kind of calms down and I really get the time to think.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so that could be in terms of sleep patterns as well. If you're a night owl, that's also quite dangerous. Obviously, you're going out hunting mice at night as well. Be careful, Adrian. I know what you're like.
I'm secretly Batman. You see.
But again, I just want to show you and to demonstrate that this is actually it's something which is very interesting. You know, you think about the body's tired. The body's tired. If it's tired, that means that really 12 hours on, 12 hours off, 12 hours on, 12 hours off. But actually, it depends on your mood. When you're feeling depressed and sad, all you want to do is sleep. When you're feeling elated and excited, all you want to do is stay awake. You can't get to sleep, right? So there's obviously this correlation, right, between the two. Okay, we see that very clearly. So coming back to what I wanted to say, let's go back to my screen here, showing back the screen. Okay, so at night, the neshama and the ruach, they go up, and the nefesh is what stays with you. Now, we said that the nefesh is the lowest part of the soul, where the soul and body interface. That is basically the part of your soul which stays in your body, and it's feeding basically up to the higher levels, and the neshama and ruach are feeding down from their exalted state back down again. And this is very, really fascinating. That's where we're going to start seeing this interplay between dreams that are kind of affected by what happened to you in that day. They are being fed via the nefesh into your dream. Your nefesh feeds into your dream, right? So, for example, if you've thought about certain things that day, if you've been thinking about things a lot, right? Whenever it is, you're nervous about a speech you've got to give, you're nervous about a date you've got to go on, you're worried about something or someone in your life, you're concerned, or you're happy, or you're elated, or even more than that, you know, someone tells you something or some news, and you're thinking about something. So those thoughts via your nefesh will come in and feed your dream. Take a look here in source E. I'm going at my throat's hurting me because I'm speaking so much. So I'm going to actually ask for a volunteer, and that volunteer might have to be Danielle Castiel, because she's joining us live after so long on her holiday in Gibraltar. So let's go for it. Read for us, please, Danielle, source E, thoughts.
Okay. Rabbi Yonatan said, a person is only shown in his dreams the thoughts of his heart when he was awake, as evidenced by what Daniel said to Nebuchadnezzar, as it is stated. As for you, O king, Your thoughts came upon your bed, what should come to pass hereafter. And if you wish, say instead that it is derived from here a related verse, and that you may know the thoughts of your heart. How will you know the thoughts of your heart? By their being revealed to you in a dream. Rava said, know that this is the case, for one is neither shown a golden palm tree nor an elephant going through the eye of a needle in a dream. In other words, dreams only contain images that enter a person's mind.
Okay, pause there a second. So we start seeing something really fascinating. But just so you know where it's from, it'll go down a bit. This is from the Gemara, the Talmud in Barachot. Okay, so what it says here is that, quoting Daniel, and that you may know the thoughts of your heart. Your dreams are a chaloin. A chaloin, we said, is like a mirror, is like a window. Oftentimes your dreams are the mirror of telling you what's really going on in your heart. What are the things you're dreaming about? What are the things you're aspiring towards? What are the deep sort of psychological things that are going inside of you will come up and bubble up in your dream. I heard a story today about the Chofetz Chaim. I'm presuming all of you have heard about the Chofetz Chaim. Steve, Chofetz Chaim? Yes, no, right. Yeah, thumbs up, right. Chofetz Chaim, thumbs up, no, right. Okay, so the Chofetz Chaim. So check out this story, okay? Chofetz Chaim, this story was told, he had his number one student was someone called Rav Chanan Wasserman, and he told this to his student, which we hear from him, right? The Chofetz Chaim was the greatest rabbi, probably of the early 1900s. Okay, and he woke up one morning and he said, I had the most terrible dream. I had the most disturbing dream. He said, what did you dream about? So he said, I dreamt that I became a millionaire. Right? I had the most disturbing dream. Now, what do most people think about that when they think that? They think, oh, well, the Chofetz Chaim, he had this dream that he didn't want to be rich. He didn't want to be a millionaire. That's how most people read it. Because someone who's really pious, why would they want to become a millionaire? Why would you want to be a millionaire? If you're pious, then you want poverty, you want to be poor, it's the best thing to be, so you're totally poor. But actually, that's not what the Chofetz Chaim was worried about. That's not why he was upset. Because let me ask you a question. Who would be the best person in the world to become a millionaire? I would have thought it would be the Chofetz Chaim, because what's he going to do with the money? The Chofetz Chaim becomes a millionaire. He's not going to start building, Chofetz Chaim towers and, have Chofetz Chaim the airline and start building Chofetz Chaim casinos in Atlantic City. Do you know what I mean? That's not what he's going to be doing with the money. He's going to be giving it to charities. He's going to give it to poor people. He's going to be giving it to increase good deeds in the world. So it wasn't that he was upset the idea of becoming a millionaire, but rather he felt that because dreams at night are a reflection of what you're thinking during the day, he was concerned that maybe during the day, what was he dreaming about? What was he secretly kind of daydreaming about? Was he aspiring for riches? He was aspiring for wealth, rather than aspiring for Torah knowledge, rather than aspiring for closeness with Hashem. He was scared that maybe this is a sign that during the day he's thinking about making money, and that's why he was upset. So we see that the Talmud is telling us that oftentimes it's a chalon, it's a window telling us of the things that we are really aspiring for in our lives. Our dreams could be telling us that. If you carry on, Daniela, you're doing a great job. Carry on here. So I'm just going back here. Go for it. So on a similar note.
I'm just waiting for it to.
Okay, sorry. I recognize. I'm going a million lines. Here you go. Sorry, yeah.
Okay, so on a similar note, the Gemara relates that the Roman emperor said to Rabbi Yoshua, son of Rabbi Hanania, you Jews say that you are extremely wise. If that is so, tell me what I will see in my dream. Rabbi Yoshua said to him, you will see the Persians capture you and enslave you and enforce you to herd unclean animals with a golden staff. He thought the entire day about the images described to him by Rabbi Yehoshua, and that night he saw it in his dream. King Shapur of Persia said to Shmuel, you Jews say that you are extremely wise. If that is so, tell me what I will see in my dream. Shmuel said to him, you will see the Romans come and take you into captivity and force you to grind date pits in mills of gold. He thought the entire day about the images described to him by Shmuel, and that night he saw it in his dream.
Okay, so lo and behold, what we're seeing here is, right, they are very clever, these Jews. In other words, the ruler comes to them and says, what am I going to see in my dream tonight? So he comes up with something mad, and this guy's thinking about all day long, thinking about what that looks like. But when he goes to sleep at night and dreams, he sees it in his dream. So we're seeing here that the Talmud tells us that the things that we see during the day, the stimulus that we see, constantly throughout our day. They go into our thoughts, and they're fed into our dream via our nefesh, and that's the things we are seeing. Now, by the way, if you think about it, we're constantly assailed by so many images, by so many films and videos and things that we're seeing the whole time. Our minds are just literally kind of constantly, our eyes are being assaulted from the first moment we wake up to the minute we go to bed at night with images, with ideas. Okay, and those have to be processed. Those have to be processed as we go along at night. So not only are our dreams a place where it sees where our thoughts are at, but also we're going to see that our dreams are a processing plant. They are a place where we can process through the emotions and the feelings and the anxieties that we have during the day. They can be processed through our dream. Take a look here, and I'm just going to, for a second, to source G. Steve, could you read source G for me? Thanks a lot. Just read, yeah, source G. Go for it, yeah? Ready, Steve. It's taking a long time for you to get on there. I can't hear you. Hello?
You're on mute, Steve.
You're on mute, mate.
Couldn't find the unmute button. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you can, okay. It's Alt-A, in case you didn't know that, after 3 months on Zoom. Carry on.
I don't have Alt on the Mac.
Carry on. Source G.
Who is rich? He who has a bathroom near where he eats.
Okay, so is that I don't think that's the answer that you were kind of expecting from us right now. Like, what do you mean? The Gemara says in Shabbos, who is rich? He has a bathroom near to where he eats. Okay, what does that mean? What's the implication here? So the Vilna Gaon was Vilna Gaon, one of the greatest rabbis that ever lived in the town of Vilna in Lithuania. So this sort of Vilna Gaon says on this. Okay, this is incredible. He says, what is a bathroom? A bathroom is that you take food, you eat food, and then you digest it. And there's psoilet. Psoilet is the waste material what you don't need. And then you have the elements in the food that are important, the vitamins, the minerals, the things that are going to, the water, the things you need for your body. The process of digestion is the separation between waste material and things you need. So the whole purpose is the bathroom is taking out the psoilet. It's taking out the waste material. It's processing your food and taking out of you. Who is rich? Someone who has the bathroom near where they eat, says the Vilna Gaon. It means it's someone who's easily able to get rid of waste, to get rid of the psoilet, to be able to digest and to process. In the same way, we understand that dreams, as we saw here in the Gemara, right, is a way of us being able to process that which has happened through the day. If you take a look here in source, it's actually source F. I don't want to change it to F for food. If you take a look at source F, this even relates to even in the food process. Brandon, could you just read source F for me? Food. It just says food, really. F for food. F for Freddy. Yeah.
When a person sleeps, his faculties rest, their senses are quiet, and their mind is relaxed and hushed. The only thing that continues to function is their imagination, and this conceives and envisions various images. Some of these images may be the result of substances rising to the brain either from the body's own hormones or from the food that one eats. These images are the dreams that all people experience.
So the Ramchal is saying, right, even the food you have, and I'm sure you've all heard, as you're kind of growing up, people say things, I'm sure you've all got your own things that you've heard, like don't eat cheese before you go to bed, don't have, I don't know what, don't have boerewors before you go to bed. I'm sure everyone in their own country has their own various type of thing that they're told not to eat before they go to sleep. Okay, but the idea is that you can everyone hear me, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the idea we're seeing here is that even the foods you have an effect, right, through which part? Through your nefesh. But coming through your nefesh, that lower part of your soul, it gets fed up. You process everything, the foods, your hormones, your anxieties, your feelings, they bubble up, and that's the hachlama. The link to the word chaloim, chachlama, it processes up and out through the dreams that we have at night. So in fact, if you take a look here, I'm splitting one to the other the whole time. Okay, the dreams we have at night. So for example, and this is also fascinating. We talk again, and of course, Vanessa Bordigo, you help us out with this because again, I haven't really studied Freud to the nth degree. Okay, but this is very interesting. Going back to that article I saw today in stylist.com, whatever it was, about all these vivid dreams people are having during lockdown. Okay, in source H, okay, it says that they asked a consultant clinical psychologist about this point. Okay, so Matthew, just want to read source H for me here. Source H, Matthew, yeah. You with me? Oh, you have to. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, it's hard for you, isn't it, Matthew? It's annoying for you, isn't it, to read? Sorry.
All good.
Okay, go for it. Yeah, go. Source H, yeah.
To find out, we asked Sue Cummings, a consultant clinical psychologist who has worked in adult mental health services for 30 years. Appearing on the latest episode of Working From Home with Stylist, Cummings explained how our dreams work to help us handle difficult emotions we might not have been able to process during the day. Freud said that the function of dreams was to actually preserve sleep. Cummings says, so we all experience stress, conflict, difficult emotions in our lives on a daily basis. We also experience pleasurable feelings as well. And in the course of a day, these events or emotions may not actually get fully processed. For one reason or another, what we're feeling or what we're thinking may have to go on hold. So what happens is the dream at night serves to actually finish the job. So we are processing material from our conscious mind.
Okay, so this is pause again. Sue Cummings, speaking in 2020, basing herself on the writings of Freud. And by the way, Freud himself actually understood and knew about the Jewish idea of dreams, and he respected it greatly. And in fact, there are those who say that it actually in many ways shaped his understanding, appreciation of dreams was actually from the Jewish sources itself. So what she's saying here is hachlama. That they're referring to the idea of hachlama. Dreams are, she says here, again, what happens in the dreams at night serve to actually finish up that we are processing material from our conscious mind. Carry on.
Freud also said that dreams just really deal with the residue. So in order to help you stay asleep, the material with which may be difficult has to be formatted in a way that allows you to stay asleep. Because if your conflicts and your difficulties were in a raw form, you actually wouldn't be sleeping. So what our brain does is it symbolically represents those conflicts or those emotions in a way that allows you to stay asleep. With this in mind, Cummings explains that the vivid dreams we're all experiencing right now are likely to be a product of the anxiety-inducing situation we're all facing, as the coronavirus pandemic puts us under increased amounts of stress. Our dreams are working overtime to help us process all those intense emotions.
Okay, so going back, I guess, to the question we started with, which was like, why are you having so many vivid dreams? According to this approach, at least, she wants to say that, well, there's like more anxieties, there's people that are dying, and we're not sure how long we'll be locked under for, businesses are suffering, we don't know what's happening, and so there's the processing element of dreams, right? We basically got more to process. Whereas back around 3 months ago, you got up, you went to work, you did what you did at work, you had a social life, and you watched a bit of the news, and you went to bed. Now, you may watch some films, you may have conversations, there may be individual anxieties and worries that you have that will bubble up in the dreams. According to at least this woman, she's saying that there's just more anxiety and there's more things happening that we need to process. And it's interesting just to hone in on this. We're saying that hachlama, rehabilitation, healing, processing, is what the dream is about. It's actually good for us. A dream is amazing because it's soaking up and it's absorbing and healing our mind through the process of the dreams. By the way, just as an aside, I listened to a podcast today it was actually from BBC Women's Hour. Am I allowed to do that? Like, can a man listen to Women's Hour on our own? Like, Steve? Yes. No. Right, so I listened to Women's Hour, and they asked the same question. I was just doing some research for the class, she had a very, very kind of different approach. She said that actually, I think Melissa knows a lot about sleep, so I'm going to call Melissa to speak a little bit more about this right now. But she was saying actually that because a lot of us don't have to wake up so early, we're not rushing off to our jobs, we're not running off from place to place, we don't have to kind of wake up so early. There's more time actually in the morning that we're sleeping, and there's more REM sleep or REM sleep happening as well. So it's giving us actually a bit more chance to actually experience the dreams, because otherwise normally we wake up very early in the morning and we go. They were saying also that because our schedules are out we are more likely, she is just implying that we're out of routine, and this also has an effect on our dreams too. But I just want to just hone on this idea that it's an amazing, what I've shown you here is the Ramchal, the Gemara. These are from 300 years ago, from 1,500 years ago. They are referring to the idea of dreams as being a processing. They are talking about healing, and this is what they're saying as well, that it's amazing to see Freud and others referring to dreams in the same way. It's absolutely fascinating. Melissa, yeah, over to you. Live now to Melissa in our studio in Golden Screen. Yeah, Melissa, welcome to the show.
Yeah, so obviously our sleep patterns at the moment are very different. We're not keeping to routines. A lot of people are probably staying up later, getting up later in the day. And usually when we're at work and going out and about, people are getting a lot less sleep than their bodies might need. And our sleep works basically that we have a process of a deep sleep at night, which can be like 2 hours or something, and then the rest of our sleep will be sort of a which is when the rapid eye movement stage, where you're coming sort of in and out and deep sleep, where you do dream, and that's where you might remember your dreams. And because, say, people aren't getting up, as you know, sticking to routines, setting alarms, there is that time in the day that we can dream more and be in REM sleep a lot more often and in a lot longer periods. So that would be why more people were having dreams at the moment.
Yeah, very, very good. Thanks for sharing, Melissa. I don't actually know absolutely everyone. There are one or two people that I don't recognize so much on this call, but I know Vanessa, not to pick on you, but I know because you are a resident psychologist, just and obviously you don't have to lie, you can just be, tell me the straight, on était, s'il te plaît, on était. Is this quite interesting to see how, I guess you probably studied the Freudian understanding of dreams. Isn't it amazing to see how the word chalom itself is hachlama, is rehabilitation, is healing, and we're seeing from even ancient sources the idea of a dream being something which heals. Over to you, Vanessa, live in Paris.
But pardon, can you repeat just the last?
I was saying, as a psychologist, I'm just interested in your reflection on this to see that actually the Hebrew word for dream is rehabilitation. And is that what you were taught in your, sort of studies about dreams?
You mean rehabilitation at this time, when we dream at this time?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, as someone who's probably studied Freud, and I'm not one who has. I know that there are people in this who probably know much more about good old Sigmund than I do. But it's interesting to know if that's been interesting for you to know that, like, that approach to dreams, which is rehabilitation, is something which is actually very ancient. That's really, I just wanted to know if that. So, but moving on though, I want to just 1 second, because I realized I just looked at the clock just now and said, oh my gosh, I just saw it's 10:18. So I just want, so I'm going to come back to Vanessa at the end. I'm sorry, I just realized what the time was. Yeah. Let me go back just to one last thing. So we see that on the one hand, let's go back to our little thing here, because I don't want to go on too late. I know people have got dreaming to do. They want to go to sleep. So let's just look here. So we saw before, if you remember, we talked about the idea of the nefesh is feeding upwards, going up, but then the sham and the ruach are also at the same time feeding down. So remember, I said that the neshama and the ruach, since the soul is above time and space, so if you think about it, the information they can give down and feed to us, they also feed down into our dreams. And that's why, by the way, people are often interested in saying, how come you can have a dream, and in that dream, and I hope people know what I'm talking about here, I hope I'm the only one that's ever experienced this, but you have a dream, and in that dream you're in one place, you're in your house that you grew up in, and then you walk out the door and you're in Bombay, and then you walk out the door and you're in Australia, and then you go out into the garden and it's in Israel. Right? So in dreams, there's no idea of space. Like, you're not confined. In one dream, you can be in all different places, and also time. Right? In your dreams, you're flitting around. Like, you're a 5-year-old, and then you're a 50-year-old, then you're a 20-year-old. There's no limitations of time nor space. There's also something really fascinating about dreams, which is called deja vu. I don't know if anyone's ever had experience of deja vu before, where you could be in a place, you can experience something, you're like, oh my gosh, Like, I've been here before. I've seen this before. I've experienced this before. It's not the first time I've been here. It's the first time I've seen this or done this. Just give me a nod with your head if you ever experienced deja vu before. Yeah, okay, fine. So how does that work? How on earth does it work that you can actually have an experience in your dream of going into the future? I thought that, how on earth could it be? So the answer is when your soul is going up into the higher worlds of neshama and ruach and feeding off and speaking, so to speak, or listening or experiencing the world of non-physical, non-time, non-space. So therefore, there is no limitation. It can go into the future, it can go into the past, it can go into the present, it can go into the here and now as well. So this is something really fascinating. Now, let's just say people often will then ask me, well, Rabbi Dov, what about, being worried about our dreams? What about being scared about our dreams? Is it something to be scared of? I have had hard dreams. I've had difficult dreams that are scary. So should we be worried about our dreams? Should we be concerned about them? I don't know if anyone here has ever had the experience. I'm not going to necessarily ask you to kind of say, but everyone has had the experience of like a very scary dream, something like about you or about someone you know, that's maybe got you waking up in a sort of cold sweat, nightmares, such these kind of things. They can be very, 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 very harrowing and very, very difficult. Okay, so should we be concerned about dreams? This is where it gets very interesting. Maybe we can kind of touch on this again next week as well. We can see the time; it's really late, but let's just take a look here at source I and understand that every dream contains falsehood. Not every dream is full of things that are true. So source I is from this is also from the Gemara. With regard to the verse, the prophet that has a dream, let him tell a dream, and he has my word, let him speak my word faithfully. What does the straw to do with the grain, says the Lord? That's in Jeremiah. Okay, listen, I'm realizing that it's very, very late. So I'll tell you outside. Basically, the understanding is that even Joseph's dream, right? Joseph's dream was when he said he had the sun and the moon and the 11 stars were bowing down to him. Well, there was an element of falsehood there because the sun was his father and the moon was going to be his mother and all the stars were his brothers. Well, that can't work because his mother is no longer alive. His mother's not going to bow down to him. And therefore, we learn out from this that every dream has elements of falsehood. It's not going to be taken to be every part of the dream is to be taken to be literal or in any way that it's all true. The Lubavitcher Rebbe has said that really, in order to have a dream which is crystal clear with like elements of prophecy, that only happens to people who are basic tzaddikim nowadays. So, for all of us to have a dream and say that dream is a prophecy that's going to come true, unless there's something about you that I don't know, and no one here is on a level of being complete tzaddik, that I don't, believe that any of us really going to be having dreams where we can having complete prophecy, which is sort of told to us in every way. However, at the same time, there are going to be dreams where we'll have some elements of there are some people say that if the dream is coming to you many times in a certain way, and if it's troubling you and it's difficult, then you can do something called a hatavat chalom. Hatavat chalom is when you can make dream better. Has anyone ever heard of a hatavat chalom before? Hatava means make it better, and the chalom is dream. The understanding is if you had a really, really, really disturbing dream, and by the way, just to let you know, recently, someone I know very close to me had a super disturbing dream about someone, and we actually asked our Da'as Torah, our sort of rabbinical authority on this, if that person should do this process whereby you speak to 3 people that you like very much in a Beit Din, so to speak. You don't have to go to the Beth Din, but you choose 3 people that are very close to you, and you go through the process of telling them that you had a dream. In fact, I've got it here for you. This is what you do. Actually, I'll do it outside. There's a process you can find in a siddur. There's some siddurim have it, whereby you say, I had a good dream, and they say to you, you had a good dream, you had a good dream, you had a good dream. Okay, and the idea is you get some staka, and in the end that you had a good dream. That's how that you had a good dream. So what's all that about? What's the process of Hatavat Chalom? It's the understanding that everything goes according to the interpretation. Every dream that you have, okay, according to how you interpret it is how it come out. Okay, the way that we speak out the dream afterwards is how the dream will be interpreted. So even if you've had something which has been upsetting or difficult, then as long as someone tells you it's a good dream and it was a good dream, then the understanding is that the dream will come out in a good way ultimately. The footnote to that is, though, when we ask this rabbinical authority, should we do this? He said, no, because we understand that nowadays, the dreams that we have nowadays, we're fed by so much stimulus. There's so many films we've seen. There are so many TV programs we've watched. Rabbis Unscripted, Thursday nights, 8 p.m., and other things too. There are so many things we're watching and looking at constantly that the dreams we have nowadays are not considered to be like the level of dreams back 200, 300, 1,000 years ago when they decided to make this thing called a Tahatavat Chalom. So you don't need to do it. So just understand, you know, if you are still feeling that you've had a dream which has been difficult, which is hard for you, then, you know, obviously you can speak to me and we can sort of find like one of these big tzaddikim that can maybe help us out there and kind of explain it. But ultimately, in summary, the idea is, just to summarize now, we can talk more if you want next week about different types of dreams. The Gemara in Brachot goes into whole lists of things that if you see in your dreams, there's signs of good omens. There are many, many lists. Emily has got a whole list for you. But just to summarize, because it's very, very late right now, this is what I wanted to get to. A lot of people are having vivid dreams right now. A lot of people in a lockdown situation are having vivid dreams. And I thought it was an amazing springboard to show us that the word for dream, chalom, is both a chaloin and a hachlama. It's both a window or a mirror, and it's also a processing plant. It's a window and mirror because the dreams we have can often be an inkling of where we at, where are our thoughts during the day, what are we really thinking about, what are we aspiring towards, what are things that kind of in our sort of maybe in our deep psyche we're kind of worrying about or thinking about, and that gets projected and it gives an inkling of to, you know, who we are. And at the same time, it's a processing plant, it's a cleansing process. It bubbles up all the things that have happened during the day, the foods you've eaten, the hormones you've got, anxieties, and it takes it up and it processes out and gets rid of it and takes it away. So it's an amazing thing to see that because of the lockdown situation we're in, it means that we're having much more vivid dreams, much more anxiety, even more time to sleep as well. I will say this is to finish again. This is a quote from the Lubavitcher Rebbe. The Lubavitcher Rebbe says that it's an amazing thing if you think about it, that when you go to sleep at night, when you close your eyes and you put your head on the pillow and you go to sleep at night, you basically close your day down. And it's the most amazing thing. It's such a gift that we have to be able to close your eyes and end the day and put a bookmark on your day. Whether it was a good day or it was a bad day, you're able to put a bookmark to your day and say, that's finished and tomorrow I can start anew. So whatever happened yesterday, you can always start anew the next day. Sleep is such an amazing gift. And I think we have to be really appreciative of the process of sleep and also the process of getting up in the morning. And maybe what we'll do is next week, we'll finish off dreams and we'll go through together this blessing that we say before we go to sleep. Ribono Shel Olam and the Hamapil, and really understand what the words mean. And we can go through an actual practical before bedtime of saying it together and doing a meditation, which will hopefully kind of send us off to sleep in a very positive way. Okay, guys, I hope it's a very interesting topic. I hope that was somewhat opening the doors to it in some ways for us all. Any questions, comments? This is a great time because it is mega late. I realize I'm sorry I went over, but any questions or comments? People want to add, subtract, take away?
What about if we don't have a dream? What does that mean?
Okay, I mean, since you asked, I mean, there are sources that say that it's you don't dream, it's not such a great thing. Like dreams, it's like, that means there's nothing there to process, basically, which means that you don't need to process, which means it's not good. So yeah, it's not good to not have dreams. You know, that's the thing. But again, you can't control it. It's not something in your control. So don't have anxiety now, don't have a dream.
Steve, you might
don't have
have
a dream now about not having dreams.
You might have dreamt it and you don't remember it, Steve.
Yeah, Adrian, go for it, mate.
I'm not very good in the mornings, especially without
I was going to ask on the topic of lucid dreams, where you're able to get yourself into a state where you're able to control your own dreams. Is that something that's advised in a sense? Because I know it's possible, but it's almost like your soul, you know, that there isn't a sense of recovery. There's a sense of, you know, your physical is overtaking your mental state in a sense. So what's the view on that?
I would not even endeavor to start answering because I'm not a psychologist or a sleep analysis or anything about lucid dreams. I don't know enough about it to answer, I'm afraid. But we'll go to Melissa live, who knows a lot more about sleep and dreaming. She can answer that for you too. But I would say, look, I mean, if do you want to explain to us more about what lucid dreaming is for those who are not dream experts? Go for it.
Me or Melissa?
Either one.
I think Melissa can probably give a better example.
Melissa, what's lucid dreaming?
So a lucid dream is when you're probably in a state where, like you said, you have control over your dreams. So you're in sort of a semi-conscious state. So you're kind of asleep but aware of what's happening as such.
And self-induced.
Yeah, in
So
a
you
way.
go through like a thing and you lie down and they put you into the place of lucid dreaming.
Or you can experience it in.
Yeah, experiencing it is something else. I mean, that's when you have a sleep. I think we've all had dreams where you're in a dream, but you're aware that you're dreaming.
Yeah.
But I think what Adrian is asking more directly about going to somewhere and getting into a state of lucid dreaming, the healing process. That would be very interesting. I mean, I don't see it necessarily being, if we're saying that part of the dream is to heal, could be something which is very, very positive, I suppose.
I mean, I remember once I did once have a feeling of sleep paralysis, and knowing I was lying in bed and knowing I was dreaming, and I was able to take control of the dream. I've only done it once and it was amazing, but I had this sort of fear that I was lying in bed and, you know, feeling very vulnerable. So, you know, I immediately tried to wake myself up, but for those, it was like an amazing elation that I was able to like take control of the dream. It was, you know, it was something incredible. I kept talking about it the entire day. I was like I did lucid dreaming. I'd love to do it again, but then there's a sense of fear that you want your mind to take control, and sort of you want to be able to know about your deeper sort of subconscious, what's going on. And I suppose if you're taking over it too much, you may lose sight, in a sense. You may lose sight of what your soul wants. So it's an interesting topic, but like it's something.
I mean, I'm thinking just in terms of when we start talking about ideas of the neshama and the ruach, which have kind of gone up. They could be part of that when the neshama and the ruach are coming back down again. Because think about it, that's what happens in the morning when you're about to wake up. The neshama and the ruach are coming back down again into you. So that oftentimes I find that the most intense part of the dream is the moment before the dream ends. I don't know if anyone else said that before. Like the most intense part of the dream is just before it's finished. And oftentimes, if it's a good dream, you wake up and you're like, oh, I really want to know what's happening next. That was such a good dream, you know. I mean, thank you. I've had some good ones like that, you know, where you're just like, oh, that was really good. Why do I have to end there? You know, like you're laughing your head off. I've woken up a few times laughing my head off at like something's happened in a dream, you know. So that could be part of it. Maybe the idea of the neshama and the ruach at that point are coming back down again, and therefore giving more of a consciousness to what's happening. So that could, I listen. I have to look into it. I really don't know enough about lucid dreams. It's a good question there from Adrian on line 3. Thank you, Adrian, for calling.
You're welcome.
Yeah, anyone else? It's such an interesting topic. And again, I'm just like throwing it out there. There's like, you know, even in researching this, you know, it's so obvious because, you know, on the one hand, dreams and somehow, you know, dreams are very powerful. I don't know if you know this, but like certain like inventions have come out of dreams, or even discoveries. Like Niels Bohr, who was he was one of the people that discovered the structure of the atom. I don't know if you know this. I mean, Steve's the kind of guy that probably knows this more than anyone. But when Niels Bohr discovered the structure of the atom, it's because he was obviously thinking about it the whole time, thinking. And then he went to a race course and saw the horses racing, going around. And as he saw the horses going around, it came to him, right? And then in his dream, in his dream, he was at a race course and he watched the horses going around, and it gave him the structure of the atom. And he woke up in the morning and wrote it down and had the structure of the atom. So you see, on the one hand, dreams are like exceedingly powerful. They're giving us information. But on the other hand, dreams can be full of absolute nonsense as well. So it's a very interesting, tenuous sort of place where we have to pay attention. We can't pay too much attention because ultimately we are not on the level nowadays. We ourselves, as in us in this room here right now, we're not on the level now to be able to come out of a dream and say, oh, I had a dream about this, it's going to happen or not. You know, there are some tzaddikim in the world that I think are like that, you know, that can get to places in their dreams, or they can dream certain things, or they can tell people things in their dreams. You know, there are many examples that abound of people that are told. I heard today from a class from Rabbi Becher. He has a friend of his, true story, a friend of his who was going out with this girl. They were dating, and he wasn't sure whether to continue or not, and he really wasn't sure. And he'd been waiting many, many years. He'd been trying to get married for many, 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 many years, and he really, really wanted to get married. And he tried this, that, and the other, and he found this girl, but it was going on. And he wasn't sure whether to end it or not. Okay, and he had a dream. So he made an appointment to see this rabbi who's basically a big Mikubal, a big Kabbalist. He made an appointment to see him. Anyway, that night, he had a dream. And in the dream, the rabbi appeared to him and said to him, "You got to keep going out with this girl. You got to keep going on the relationship." Anyway, so the next day he rocks up and goes to see the rabbi. He walks in, sits down in front of him, and he says to the rabbi, true story, he says to the rabbi, "You know, I need to ask you, Rabbi, should I still go out with this girl or not?" And the rabbi says, "I already told you." So so we're talking about some really fascinating things, like on the higher levels of tzaddikim. And that's where it's very inconclusive. But I think just to focus for ourselves and understanding from this purpose of like, it's a healing process, and we can't take too much notice of it and not get too upset or scared. But let's go. Sienna's got a question and we'll kind of end it there. Sienna, go for it.
I'll try and be quick. And this I hope this doesn't come out the wrong way, because I don't think I'm a prophet by any means. But I want
that's a shame, Sienna, because there are a few people on this thing that do think they are. So you could join them.
I'm sure other people have had this experience as well. But when you were saying like crystal clear dreams that do actually predict the future, I did have one, actually a couple of times, but to do with work. Like I present, or I submit some work to a client, and this one time it happened, I was really happy with the work. I thought I did a great job. It was great writing, submitted it. This was a client in LA, so it was kind of overnight. Went to bed super happy, had a crystal clear dream that the client was going to hate it. Woke up in the morning with this feeling. I was like, no, I know I did a good job. Like, this is mad. Opened my emails. She absolutely hated it. The only time that has ever happened.
Wow.
Am I a prophet?
You are definitely, yeah. And so we're going to start a new religion with you at the head. Steve's going to be your gabbai. He's going to like follow you on a white donkey. And it's all happening here. It's ground zero. So, you know, it's interesting. Again, on that point, there are lots of people that are researchers that talk about the idea of coincidence, that there are many coincidental elements. That things can happen by coincidence, that, you know, it just happens that this time that they didn't like it, and you just were thinking, obviously you were thinking about her. You went to bed that night, you were thinking about her, you were thinking about your work. It was in your head. It was something you were processing. And, you know, so there is a coincidental element as well, but it is really fascinating. Guys, it's been really magical. It is 10:37. I mean, if you want to stick around, I'm happy hanging out with you. I miss you all so much, so I'm happy just to hang out forever. I will probably just everyone should feel free if they want to go to sleep and stuff. But I'm also interested to hear in like sort of reflections on some of the stuff we said today. It'd be quite good to hear like if this has been somewhat like kind of interesting or like kind of seen it from a different sort of angle about like dreams. Yeah, go for it.
I have a question.
Yes, Daniela, live from a Moroccan tea house in Gibraltar.
So if we say that when someone passes away, their soul, then the neshama has to get used to being back in the world of the souls. And the whole aim is to live life in a way where that process is easier. But if every single night your neshama is going back to the world of the souls anyway, then how is it forgetting?
Daniela Castiel, you disappeared off to Gibraltar. We missed you from our classes all these months. You know, so the answer to your question is, I think, and I may be wrong, in the first thing we mentioned today in today's class, which is the Gemara that says, if you talk about the 1/60th, right, that sleep is 1/60th of death. So that experience when the neshama leaves you at night is a 60th of what's going to happen at death. So to a certain extent, when your neshama leaves you every night, it's getting a 60th of what that experience will be when it actually finally separates and goes off into the next world, but it's only a 60th. So that experience of leaving and going is a 60th, it's not full. It's not a full experience. So that moment when eventually we move on and our body and soul have to say goodbye to each other momentarily, at that point, when it happens, that's a full, that's 100%. The neshama and the ruach, and the nefesh as well. Because remember, it's not all three. When someone passes away, everything goes. The neshama, the ruach, and the nefesh, everything moves up and goes. Okay. Whereas in a dream state, it's only the neshama and the ruach that go up, and even then, it's a 60th of the experience, and the nefesh is still in the body, and it's still there. So that kind of answers it. Maybe you know what? Maybe you've given me a new approach. Maybe even the fact that since it's the nefesh, which is the part which is the interface with the body, maybe the nefesh is the part that hurts the most. because the nefesh, as we've learned from so many of our classes, the nefesh is that part of our soul which houses the emotions, it houses like the ta'avot, the what's the word, instincts, it houses the lusts, it houses all these things, right? So maybe since it's your nefesh that never goes up when you sleep, it stays down. Maybe it's the actual nefesh that has the hardest time when the body and the soul leave. Maybe the nefesh is the place where there's the most pain felt when the body and the soul leave. If you invest in your whole life has just been about food and about just kind of, just not investing in anything more than just bodily needs, the here and the now, then yeah, when we go up to Shemaim, it's going to be very painful. But again, maybe it's only coming from really the epicenter of that pain is really only from the nefesh. It's a good question. Yeah, maybe thinking about it from a different perspective. It could be. Thank you very much, guys. I'm going to stop there. It's 10:40. If you've got any more questions on this, then please do kind of be in touch via email. Again, it's a very